I should have killed you.
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 I should have killed you first.
I should have killed you first.
I should have killed you the first time.
Why did I kill myself? I should have killed you!
No, that's enough killing. Let's start the show!
Welcome to Cordkillers, our mission to report the intel from the front lines of the cord-cutting revolution so that you, my friends, have the knowledge you need to be able to watch what you want, when you want, where you want, on whatever device you want. I'm Tom Merritt. That good-looking man is Brian Brushwood.
Tom, I say this with all love in my heart. I should have killed you when I had the chance.
People say that to me all the time.
People say that all the time on movies, television shows, everything. And there's a fantastic video that shows just how cliche the phrase is. If you just Google, I should have killed you when I had the chance, supercut, you'll see 4.5 minutes. It's one of those videos where you hit play and they come at you hard and fast. And you're like, oh, there's a lot of these. And then 3 minutes later, you're like, wow, there's really lots of these.
And then by the end of the clip, you're like, I should have killed this while I had the chance.
Well, it does a good job of kind of, shaping it into different subgroups. It's like, I should have killed yous, and then when I had the chance, or you should have killed me's, or, it dances around as some of the good supercuts do.
Yeah, I love supercuts. The editing feature. I have no opinion about the haircutting place. Let's start off with our primary target.
Yes, indeed we shall, sir.
So we're going to talk about the Super Bowl in signals intelligence because our primary target is about space. And we don't get to talk about space enough. That's why we have Fraser Cain on the show, because he brings the space. And now I'm thinking, like, why didn't we call Fraser?
It definitely sounded like you were about to reveal that he was on the show.
Yeah, I know, right? Saturday, British astronaut Tim Peake and colleagues watched the BBC's first ever space broadcast as it live streamed Scotland versus England in the Six Nations rugby tournament. It was BBC approved, BBC delivered. Obviously, NASA helped get the feed up in the normal way. I'm curious if they do analog or digital transmissions to the ISS, but England won 15-9. That's the important part. Then the next day, Scott Kelly watched the National Football League's championship game, commonly referred to as the Super Bowl, and NASA even gave Scott Kelly the day off. Although I don't think you really get a day off if you're an ISS astronaut.
Well, I mean, first of all, it's not like you get to go home for the weekend. I mean,
Right.
You're definitely still in space. That's your full-time job. However, he did do, if you look at his Twitter feed, he's got a bunch of fantastic photos, including the brief moment that he passed over the actual Super Bowl and was able to take a photo of the stadium. Here's the weird part to me, Tom. Do you think that NASA actually got written permission from the NFL to rebroadcast that signal?
Yeah, they may or may not have needed it, but the NFL certainly asserts those trademarks. You know, it's legal to use the word Super Bowl in your ad.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, that's the one thing we didn't get to talk about in our pre-show work, is that I love the fact that over the week leading up to the Super Bowl, you'll notice that all of the television advertisements, they're psycho about not quite saying Super Bowl. They say, hey man, we got a giant big screen TV so you can watch the big game, whatever the big game is. That's
because the
definitely this
NFL
Sunday.
will send threatening letters and lawyers and sometimes take you to court if they think that you're anywhere near affiliating yourself with the Super Bowl, as the Olympics does with the World Olympics. But they're overzealous. The law is such that you only have to be implying a relationship, not actually, like, it's okay to say the Super Bowl exists, and if you want to watch it, you could buy this big TV and watch it and many other things. Like, there would be no implication of.
So,
but anyway, I'm going down a rabbit hole. Obviously, the bigger question here, Brian, is not only did they get permission for the Super Bowl, but did the geolocks keep kicking in as he orbited the Earth?
Well, that's the other big question, is technologically, I would love to know how this feat was accomplished. So am I to read into these articles correctly in that up until this date, NASA has never broadcast a live event up to space?
I mean, obviously, they've broadcast some live events because kids can call the space station and talk to the astronauts live and that sort of thing. But I guess they'd never streamed the Super Bowl before.
Right on. Well,
Yeah.
good. I for one welcome our new space pirate overlords.
And I, for one, would like to visit the International Space Station. But to be able to afford to do that, I'll need your help at patreon.com/cordkillers.
Hey, man, look, we got 1,955 patrons that keep us loud, live, and independent. Last time I checked, my math works out to 45 more of you guys will take us over that magic 2,000 supporter mark. We don't care if it's a nickel a dime or 10,000 grimes. That rhymed, but it wasn't real.
Yeah, what we're saying is any
grimes,
number is fine.
Yes.
It could have 20 digits. It
a
could have
nickel
one
a
digit.
dime, any number is fine. That's what I should have said. That would have rhymed
Bingo.
in time.
Thank you all for making it possible for us to do this show, share the information we find with you, and we hope you appreciate it, and we know you do because you're showing your appreciation. If you haven't helped us out, give a little value for the value you get. Patreon.com/cordkillers.
Yeah.
Now, Signals Intelligence.
The real stuff. Now we could dig into all that talk about what's legal to say about the big game.
CBS says a record audience streamed the Super Bowl 315 million minutes in total of game coverage. That's an average of 1.4 million people streaming the game per minute. That is a big increase over NBC, which didn't have it available in apps. They only had it available on the web. NBC had 800,000 average viewers per minute and 1.3 million current users last year. So 0.1 million behind what CBS had. Some Apple TV users had problems with the stream. I used Apple TV and I didn't have a problem with the stream, but I was lucky. Most people using Apple TV experienced some kind of outage. And you could get it over the air. You could get it on the web. You could get it on Roku. It was the CBS Sports app that had it. I found that it worked really well. And then Jay wrote in and said, hey, the Super Bowl telecast averaged 111.9 million viewers, according to Nielsen's Fast Nationals. Now, those aren't finished. Those are the overnights, and they may be adjusted as they get more data in. But that peaked at 115.5 million between 8:30 and 9 Eastern, and the total is off from last year's record, 114.4 million. Now, Jay points out the Seattle-New England game last year might have been a little more exciting than the Carolina-Denver game, but this Super Bowl was still the third most watched program in TV history. And the live stream, if you're like, well, wait, if you add the live stream numbers to the 111.9, I think they're included. But even if you do add them, it doesn't take you over last year's number. All kinds of reasons why that could be. But here's my question, Brian. Why is the most valuable TV property in the world, in this world where I couldn't stream the Puppy Bowl online, even though I was paying for PlayStation Vue and got the Animal Planet, I could not stream the Puppy Bowl online, but yet the Super Bowl was free and clear for everybody. Didn't even need to authenticate.
I mean, I think the answer is a bit counterintuitive and yet obvious when you think about it. If you ask someone, hey man, what is the best part about the Super Bowl? Let me ask Bryce. I haven't told him this. Bryce, what's the best part of every Super Bowl?
I mean, I bet most people would say the commercials.
That's right.
Right.
Which means if you want that ratty old sports ball game, then fine, have it. But you ain't going to get the commercials. You ain't going to get the commentary. You ain't going to get the complete event the way it happens for the way the rest of the world is watching it. And I would say that's kind of a safe strategy, is like make the sports fans happy and yet also make it clear that the quote-unquote real experience is meant to be watched live on your box in the living room.
Now, I believe we did a story on the fact that CBS would be counting the live streams in what they charged people. They were selling it as a single package, which meant that your CBS stream was showing the exact same ads as the national feed from CBS this year. So that could be part of it. But previous networks were streaming it with separate ad packages. I think it's that they know that the reason they need to restrict access to their live programming or even on-demand programming is they're worried you won't subscribe to cable and they won't get those subscription fees. And so they want to encourage you to pay for cable because they get more money that way. They know that no one is going to subscribe to cable just for the Super Bowl. They're going to go to a friend's house. They're going to get it over the air. So they might as well stream it and in CBS's case, get more money for those ads, but just put it out there as goodwill. Like, hey, let's show you what we can do. We can stream this.
That sounds pretty good. If you think of advertising, if you think of streaming live events in terms of advertising, it does change the economy of everything. You know, all of a sudden,
could that make it so that a network that decided to double down on live streaming, like NBC has kind of done, we'll talk about that in a little bit, could eventually have a version that's just available ad supported? Is there enough ad money for that?
Not yet. However, think about this also. We got this email saying that this is the third most watched program. And I don't know if he meant live program, because I got to believe that it can't be last year was the most watched, and then above that was the finale of MASH.
I believe that the Super Bowl is like 8 of the top 10 most watched programs in TV history.
No, but of all history, it's the season finale of MASH, right?
No, MASH is like 4th behind a few Super Bowls.
Oh man, okay, all right. Thank you for updating.
I may be wrong about 4th, but
that's fine. But I have been told that the conventional wisdom was that the ending of MASH was the most watched TV thing in all of history. But it was largely because there was nothing on but news on the other channels at the same time. But here's my point. In a world where you want to be able to count every single eyeball so that you have the chance to be there's a big difference between the 4th most watched program and the 3rd most watched program. And in that case, I'm going to give it away to everyone. I'm going to make it super easy for everybody to stream it live so that they can get counted and that you can look like as good as possible.
I'm having a hard time finding. I'm looking real quick. They break it out. Most watched series finales, most watched series episodes. That's why everybody thinks MASH, because MASH is definitely the most watched series finale.
Yeah. Well, and so somebody could write us and correct us after the fact, because I'd be curious how they break all that down. But regardless, I think that the short answer is there's a number of very good reasons why they would give away the stream in the highest quality they're able to afford that have nothing to do with actually caring how satisfied those people are. They want those bodies counted. They want those eyeballs to make them look good. And they, most importantly, I think, want to advertise other people to, sign up and get in the packages and so on.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like they know that the more people who watch it, even if it's online, the more they can show that it was worth the money to invest in, and worth the price that they charged advertisers. And CBS, like I said, they charged people a little extra, said you're going to get online too. And as Jay pointed out in his email, 3.5% of viewers watched via the internet. So there you go. Let's move on and gear up.
Does that mean we can call ourselves the 3.5% now?
Yes.
We are the 3.5%.
Even though I got it over the air. Oh, yeah, I meant to mention that. And just real quickly before we get into Gear Up, I watched it on Apple TV because my over-the-air viewing was breaking up. It had some reception issues. You were having artifacting. You were having compression issues.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, you mentioned that you thought it had to be a transmission issue, but I tell you, man, I had Josie holding up the thing at all angles, and it wasn't a case of anything dropping out. Normally, when there's bad transmission, it works, and then it stops working, and it starts working again. It just seemed like it was a heavily compressed version of, around every time there was digital graphics with precise corners, there was those little JPEG artifacts around the corners that drove me nuts. And made me think, man, I would rather watch this on my screen over a
That's crazy.
stream. Yeah.
I maybe it was the tuner you have does that. I don't know. Because maybe it's just the Austin CBS affiliate does that. Because we were watching the broadcast after the game, and we didn't get that either. And the reception was better after.
Crazy.
Yeah. All right. It is Gear Up, and we're going to talk about gear. Samsung's UBD K8500 went on sale in a store in Santa Monica, and will now ship February 10th, according to Best Buy. So a bunch of people found it in this store. They also found it in a Fry's up in San Francisco, probably in San Jose, San Francisco Bay Area. They saw it in a Fry's in San Diego. It was not supposed to ship until March, but it's coming before there are 4K Blu-rays available. The Martian and the Kingsman are still pre-order only, and the other titles don't even have pre-orders yet. But you can, Brian, do Netflix in 4K, YouTube in 4K, Hulu, Amazon, MGO, and Yup TV.
So this is the funny part, is in some ways, this is a familiar area. We have that new hardware making possible a new level of fidelity that we've never seen before. We remember when it was the Betamax. We remember when it was DVD. We remember when it was Blu-ray. And this time, we don't even seem to have a format war brewing. We're just going to get the new ability to watch. Oh, wait, remember what I said about a format war? I'm lying, because it turns out that there's a format that renders renders physical media useless and makes it irrelevant to have one of these players, in that there's content available right now today that you could stream. Of course, granted, not everyone lives in an internet area where they're able to get all of these things. But if you have the internet, you could get 4K content today, and a lot of it. Whereas this device, you're going to buy it, you're going to have to pre-order the 2 titles that seem to be available, and then you get to sit there and have the Betamax fingernail biting of just wondering, will we win? Will we get all the content? I don't know.
Okay, first of all, there's a guy already pounding out an impassioned defense of Blu-ray 4K DVDs over Blu-ray 4K discs over streaming. And yes, bandwidth, artifacts, compression, we get it. There are reasons, but people will take the convenience of streaming over the fidelity of the disc.
And we've said that so many times on every incarnation of the show. We've talked about how in the long term, in general, convenience trumps fidelity. And I gotta say, streaming over Netflix is way more convenient than the fidelity of this.
But here's the real cool issue. You can get 4K Netflix on your Roku. I don't know if you can get 4K Amazon on your Roku. You can get 4K Amazon on your Fire TV. I don't know if you can get 4K YouTube over there, but this one I haven't checked the specs, but it implies that you will get 4K of all of this stuff. Granted, you have to pay $399 for it.
Oh, that's wild. That takes us back to the whole the PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4 defense, where it's like, no, I'm never going to play a game on it, but I know it will play all the media that I want it to play. So this is a case where maybe you'll never buy a 4K Blu-ray, but you know that you could connect to all of the services that stream 4K content. If that's true, and we'll find out.
Yeah. So this weekend, I took my lovely wife to Las Vegas to see the Jennifer Lopez show. It was a Christmas present for her. And while walking around outside, which we did, saw several street magicians.
What?
And honestly, had a new appreciation for not only how tough that is for them, because I know you, but also how good you are because of watching them and go, oh, well, Brian would do this right now, or Brian would up his tempo here. And I was like, I should have turned these guys on to the Rogues Gallery, to scamstuff.com, because I know they would have gone crazy for the kind of stuff you're selling there.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, it certainly is no secret that I got my start street performing here on 6th Street in Austin, Texas, and all of the magicians I respect most spent time on the streets. To me, it is the most artistically pure medium to perform ever, because nobody's expecting to see you. You only capture them by the quality of your entertainment, and then they only give you whatever they think you're worth. So those guys are doing the real work. They're doing their time in the trenches. But right now, if you head on over to scamstuff.com, we got a brand new course. If you're kind of a muscly guy, if you've got decently strong grip strength, there's a brand new course from our friend Dennis Rogers, who is a former world champion arm wrestler and supreme badass. He's a grandmaster strongman, the world's only recognized grandmaster who's still performing. He does things like he holds Harleys back from taking off. He lifts refrigerators with one finger and stuff. He's freaking amazing, and he is giving up all of his secrets. He's getting ready to turn 60 years old soon, and he's like, forget it. I'm just going to tell everyone all my secrets to all of my featured effects. So if you want to learn how to bend wrenches, actually bend wrenches with your bare freaking hands, head on over to scamstuff.com and learn how to bend wrenches, the Modern Rogue Masterclass. It's all digital. You'll get a 80-page manuscript, all PDF with all of his secrets, and an hour-plus video. I even do an interview with him. It's really, really badass. If you want to know the secrets of genuine strongmen, it's available to you right now.
And now it is time for the front lines.
Yeah.
Front lines.
Louis C.K. has reduced the price for episode 2 of Horace and Pete. In fact, Jackie Hearn pointed out it's down to $2, although you're going to see it reported as $3. Future episodes will be $3, and the premiere episode remains at $5. He wrote eloquently about how expensive the show is to produce by way of explanation for how much he's charging.
Well, and also there's a weird guileless honesty to Jackie was kind enough to forward over the exact email that he sent out to all his fans, where he said, hey man, I don't know if you expect this to be funny. I apologize if you think a comedian always has to be funny. I don't know what this is. I know that I know it's stupid expensive, and normally a mega corporation does this, and I'm just a guy, pooping all this money out my butt, and I'm doing my best to make it happen. This week it's $2. I don't even know what it'll be next week. We're still figuring all this out. And to be honest, that kind of transparency TV. On the one hand, I can imagine if somebody paid $5 for the first episode, maybe they'd feel chumped or suckered and feel like, oh, well, how much is it? I paid $5 for your full stand-up comedy special, and now you're telling me it's got to be $5 an episode for a whole season of something on it that even you don't seem to know what it is? And to which Louis C.K. seems to look him in the eye and say, yeah, bro, you got to pay or not?
You don't have to.
Yes.
This is what I made.
Exactly.
If it's worth $5, buy it.
Exactly. I think it's really interesting. It'll be interesting. I mean, it sounds like he made a very, very big gamble. And trust me, as a guy who runs a little magic shop called scamstuff.com, I can appreciate the terror of making a big bet, not knowing for sure what people are going to pay for it.
Yeah. And Jackie says the episodes are great. So there you go.
Awesome. Oh, wait, that's my turn. Apple has added Fox, FX Now, and Nat Geo TV to Universal Search on the latest Apple TV. That's in addition to iTunes, Netflix, Hulu, HBO, Showtime, PBS, and PBS Kids. Also, Apple released Apple tvOS 9.2 beta to 3 developers today. Today's update added dictation for text entry and App Store search by Siri. I gotta tell you, man.
It was beta 3 to all the developers, not beta to 3 developers.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. Beta to 3
Verbal
developers.
typo there.
3 developers. Larry, Jeannie, and Mo.
Yeah, we've talked to all of them. I love it.
But I gotta tell you, man, how long have I been whining saying that I wanted this concierge level service? Something that would just tell me, hey, man, I want to watch this thing that I've heard of or shows like this and just find them. I think that's great news.
Yeah, thanks to Jorge Santana for the tip-off on Twitter about that dev release. Joey from Friends, a.k.a. Matt LeBlanc, has been cast to host the BBC's Top Gear show, along with radio veteran Chris Evans, when it returns in May. Additional cast members will be announced shortly. This is the crew taking over for Jeremy Clarkson.
So how does this make you feel? I was never really deeply into Top Gear, and so as a result, I never felt the pang of loss when Jeremy left or was kicked out. But I do know that I think Matt LeBlanc is a really good talent. I think that I think he's very underappreciated. I think it sounds like, because he's made appearances on Top Gear before, and it seems like this could be a really good fit for him.
I feel about Top Gear the way people who don't watch Doctor Who feel about me when I talk about Doctor Who, which is, looks like a really great show. I don't watch it. And maybe I should. Maybe I'd like it. At the same time, I always liked Matt LeBlanc. I even watched Joey, the spinoff from Friends, for a while because I liked him that much.
But see, like even Joey, he was playing the same. He's underused playing the dumb character. Weirdly, I think of
and he's in episodes now where he's kind of playing himself.
Right. Well, and also he was the lead. He was the lead in the Lost in Space reboot, and that was the first time you saw him play a commanding, very masculine character. To be honest, it reminds me a lot of the transformation we saw from what is his name from talk radio, and then he became Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan saw a similar transformation when he went from being the kind of loopy tech head to on talk radio, I forget what it is, to hosting Fear Factor. He went into a very masculine role, and I feel like we might see an opportunity to do the same thing with TV's Joey.
It's also very true. I know this much about Top Gear that Jeremy Clarkson loved to rag on the United States, and hiring an American to take over for him, I don't know if is on purpose, but it certainly has a little undertone.
Well, but also, I mean, and again, I ain't picking a side in this, but if I'm the BBC has to notice that Americans, a significant number of Americans, really
Top
seem
Gear
to
is
dig.
huge on BBC America. That's
Exactly. Okay, Comcast added 89,000 subscribers in Q4, but not enough to overcome a net loss of 36,000 people for the year. The company added 460,000 internet subscribers in the quarter. Comcast's Neil Smith said skinny bundles were a very, very small part of the TV subscribership, with 75% of the company's growth coming from higher-end packages. I got to tell you, the more of these stories I hear, the more I feel like it's all just a symptom of the economy doing well and us having more disposable income, where we don't have the time or the inclination to bother. It's like, fine, just
Homes
whatever.
are selling again. People are moving into new places. It doesn't, when you compare 36,000 on the year net loss to 460,000 internet subscribers in the quarter, that's huge. Even though you grew 89,000 subscribers in Q4, I see our conversation about Time Warner on a previous episode, because it's pretty much the same thing, except the numbers are a little worse from Comcast, because at least Time Warner was able to have a net positive for the year.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
the
that's
original
the big
Fire
one.
TV got an update that adds in voice assistant Alexa. I'll pause while your Amazon Echo stops and says,
Yes.
I didn't understand that. Fire TV boxes will get it first, followed by Fire TV sticks.
Yeah, man. I apologize. I saw this article and I meant to install it and try it out, but I realized that unfortunately I wouldn't have anything to compare it to. It would be, since I don't have the Amazon Echo, it would feel like a Siri to me, and I'll get an Echo and then I'll compare it to the Fire TV.
Basically, it's a voice assistant, and it doesn't have all the Amazon Echo features in it, so it is probably best compared to Siri on Apple TV, to be honest.
Yeah. Hey, man, moments after we finished Cordkillers, the Fine Brothers, I'd like to think, in response to our coverage, although that may or may not be true, they posted to media Monday night that they have rescinded all trademarks and all applications for brands related to reaction videos. They also discontinued a planned program to license the reaction video format to other people. Man, oh man, what a strange story this is. To be honest, in a world where things can spin out of control very, very quickly, even though you could make a case that this is an overreaction, that they gave up more rights than they needed to, I think they preserved, I think they got ahead of a tidal wave of anger. They kept themselves from being a punchline for weeks and weeks to come by just overdoing it and saying, I'm sorry, we love you. If we thought that for a second this would happen, we would never have proposed this.
Yeah, in the end, they did the right thing. They backed off and said, you know what? We get it. You guys are really mad. We didn't expect you to be this mad, but we're not going to proceed on any of this. And it's kind of all they could do.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, like weirdly, I feel like they gave up turf that they didn't need to. I feel like they were in the right in various aspects of it, but they also understand that in the middle of a mob, nuance does not play well.
It doesn't matter whether you're right. Yeah.
Exactly. And so they did the smart thing. It's like, say the one 2-syllable phrase that everybody will understand, which is you win. Hey guys, you win. You all get that right?
And the thing is, you shouldn't say that if it's going to fundamentally hurt you or cause worse problems. But I think what they realized was, well, we won't get to do our really cool idea, and we might have some future problems defending our trademark of React, which we have by default anyway, but that's worth it. So
yeah,
there
man.
you go. Let's see what's under surveillance. My wife works for YouTube on YouTube Originals, and the first content from YouTube Red will premiere February 10th, so I needed to disclose that to you. Scare PewDiePie is the first series that's going to come out. There are also some feature-length videos coming out. Laser Team, which is an action comedy movie from the Rooster Teeth folks. Dance Camp, a feature film from Awesomeness TV. And A Trip to Unicorn Island, a documentary about Lily Singh.
Yeah, Laser Team had a theatrical release here in Austin. We said we had billboards in the middle of downtown for it. It was a big deal. I think this is smart. This is YouTube figuring out a platform where they can dip a toe into more HBO style waters, and whether or not that's going to work with their brand remains to be determined. But I don't see any reason that they wouldn't.
I bet after February 10th, when you watch this PewDiePie episode, you might hear me go, "That was pretty good."
Right on. I believe you.
Let's. What have you been watching lately?
A lot of television, because I've been playing a lot of Hearthstone lately. And man, oh man, is it fun to have a casual kind of card game going on the left side of your screen and just some stuff flowing. I watched all of the most recent seasons of Bob Burgers on Netflix. I did watch another episode of Justified that we'll talk about. I almost got ahead of you on Justified. I'm kind of gobbling them up now. I did watch the 2 episodes of Expanse that just came out. Watched all of Bill Burr's animated series, F is for Family. I got some thoughts on that we could talk about later. And last night on a lark, I just noticed that The Shining was on Netflix. I don't know if that's a new edition or just popped up on my feed, but I jumped in and started watching it because, it's 1 a.m. Why not? And I noticed of my own accord, I'm like, man, there's a lot of Steadicam shots on there. So I Google Shining Steadicam, and it turns out that the Steadicam had come out like 20 minutes before The Shining started, and Kubrick was just like, yeah, gimme, come on over. And he was like, hey, you invented the Steadicam, why don't you just run it for me and all that? And then I started watching documentary footage, and in fact, I found this article that claimed that the guy who invented the Steadicam essentially created the first viral video, because he created something called 30 impossible shots that at the time literally were impossible. Chasing people around, watching them jump in, doing 360s around people, grilling hot dogs and so on, and that it was so popular in film circles that everyone was making copies of it and spreading it all around. Fascinating behind the scenes stuff.
I found myself watching Late Show with Stephen Colbert after the Super Bowl yesterday and was entertained. I don't know if that will make me watch it more, but it was good. I enjoyed it. Also finished up the Clone Wars finally. And I have to say, a lot of people said that the last season was great. I thought it was even. I wouldn't say I didn't like it, but it felt like it only maintained where the series was going. And now I can safely read the Christy Golden novel that is based on the subsequent season that was never shot. So I'm looking forward to that. Also watched the Venture Brothers premiere. As with you, I watched The Expanse, Justified. Caught The Flash, but I'm falling behind on a few other things because of life getting in the way. But I am keeping up on The Magicians, which I think also is maintaining its momentum as it gets into a few more episodes.
Separate random note. Number one, should I jump in on The Magicians? Number two, somebody was asking what I thought about Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, which I didn't even know was a television production on the BBC.
No, we'll talk about this more in spoiler in time. But
okay.
There are way too many shows.
Okay.
We can't watch all the shows.
Okay, great. All right. Well, we'll
Jonathan
explain
Strange
why.
and Mr. Norrell came up to BBC America. We talked about it on Sword and Laser. We both talked about how we should probably want to watch it, and people said it was good, and I just couldn't fit it in.
Finally, welcome to my world. Try squeezing some kids in there too.
Oh God, yeah. There's no way. No effing way. But we are going to treat Cordkillers and Spoiler in Time as a continuing recommendation engine for you. Hence, we have Bryce tell us what's on the lookout.
Hey, this is a question to Brian and Tom here.
Yeah.
What do you guys know about Mozart in the Jungle?
Man, I am kind of proud to say that I know nothing about what the content is. I know it's well regarded. I know it's an Amazon original, and that it's pretty exquisitely executed. That's literally all I know.
I watched the first episode when it was in the pilot
program
series, but after it came out as a full series, I never watched it again.
So it's an interesting show. It's a dramedy from Amazon, and it follows a bad boy conductor, Rodrigo. This is him if you're watching the video. And he's brought into the New York Philharmonic Orchestra to sort of bring in some fresh blood. It also follows a young girl named Haley, who is a struggling oboist. She's doing like music lessons, and she's playing in the band for a Styx. Is it Styx? A Styx like Broadway musical jukebox play. And there's this moment where they sort of intersect, and she is given the opportunity to sort of enter the Philharmonic, and it's really interesting. There's a lot of interplay between the members of the orchestra, the members of the administration, Haley and her friends, her roommates, and what is interesting is Rodrigo. Certainly, he is the driving force of like, let's push stuff to the extreme. You're seeing on the video now where he takes the New York Philharmonic and does like a field trip and performs in a vacant lot and doesn't tell anybody, and then stuff happens.
Interesting.
As a dramedy, it maybe is not on the extreme end of either, right? As a drama, it's not going to make you cry. As a comedy, it's probably not going to make you roll over laughing. But it's an interesting look into the way professional musicians live. That's sort of its own world. And Mozart in the Jungle really tries to give you that atmosphere, even if it's a little cartoony in some spots. But that's Mozart in the Jungle. That's on Amazon. There are 2 seasons of that. They are half-hour shows.
Do you feel like you need to be a classical musical or an orchestral musical enthusiast to really get a pop out of this, or is it something that can drag you in?
No. I think I think at the worst, if you go in with no understanding of more formal musical terms, I think what you'll miss out on is maybe when they say the one or two technical terms, or just
When they go into techno babble, it won't mean
there's
anything
not even
to
a
you.
lot of that. There's
Yeah.
not even a lot of that. It's very much a character driven show. So it's aimed more at everybody.
Awesome.
All right, folks, if you got something we should be on the lookout for, send us an email, cordkillers@gmail.com.
Hey, Tom, real quick announcement. I just realized you and I both simultaneously, without noticing it, fell off on watching Mad Dogs. I'm still digging Mad Dogs. We fell off around, what, episode 6? We should watch the rest of that, right?
Yeah, goes back to my previous point of too many damn things.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm hereby announcing I intend to finish up Mad Dogs by next week. Just
right.
FYI.
We're gonna have to figure this out on Spoiler in Time.
Okay.
Like, we'll talk about this. Let's get to some dispatches from the front.
Yeah.
Hi, Cord Killers, says Alex from New York City. He says, I downloaded this app from Yahoo called Yahoo Video Guide. It's possible you guys featured it on the show already, but if not, here it is. The app detects which streaming services you have installed on your device, Netflix, Amazon, HBO Now, etc. Then it shows you what new movies and shows are available. Also breaks down by categories and in which services they are available. I'd like for this to be included within the Apple TV or other boxes, but it's pretty cool. I remember us talking about it. I looked on my phone. It is installed. I thought it was great, and I never went back and used it. And Brian, you downloaded it today, and you're raving about it.
Yeah, well, and again, it's funny because I have the first, gee whiz moments of, look, it works. It does the thing that it claims it wants to do. And as we mentioned before, yeah, this looks like it could be a viable alternative to canistream.it. The difference, of course, is that, I'm more accustomed to searching for things. It's easier to type on a laptop or on a desktop and just go to Can I Stream It and see where it's available. But I will say, for, not being a self-serving app, not, secretly directing everyone saying, are you sure you wouldn't rather watch Community Season 6 on Yahoo or whatever? It does a really good job. It's a very, very pretty app, and it seems to be very, very effective.
It says a lot about Yahoo that we both really like this app, and yet we don't remember talking about it previously.
Stan writes in and says, hey guys, I have a suggestion. Since Man in the High Castle seems to have taken a bit of a backseat, I would suggest this. Just watch the last episode and you'll be fine. Much of what has happened up to where you are has been a setup for the last episode. I don't think you'll be disappointed and will understand why I keep harping on it after you have watched it. Stan, the problem is that I care enough about this story that I don't want to give it short shrift like that. And even though you're probably right, if I cared a little bit less about it, I probably would just turn it on and have it playing while I'm watching Hearthstone. But so far, this show has merited my full attention, and I want to continue to give it that. So I apologize. It may just take a little bit longer for me to get to that point.
Yeah, I thought we were going to... I actually put this in Spoiler in Time and then forgot to delete the old version of it here in Cord Killers.
Sorry.
But this was the one where I was going to say, look, folks, I finished Man in the High Castle. I watched the whole thing and I loved it. And I talked about it on the show, non-spoilery. Every one of you can say, you should watch this show. And all we can say is, well, yeah, I'd love to, but I'm watching these shows. And you can say, yeah, but this show that I'm saying is better. But all of you can't be right. And there's only so many minutes in the day for us. So we can't watch all the shows.
Well, and keep in mind, it's almost like we suffer from a precious paralysis where we can tell something is so good that it deserves better than to be on in the background. So we never put it on the background, which means we never put it on. And that is the unfortunate thing. That's why my friend John and partner on Scam Stuff still has not watched Avatar: The Last Airbender, even though he understands everybody he respects loves it. He can't put it on first and only that, and he refuses to have it be on in the background.
Think about it like books. You can tell me like, hey, there's this great book. You should read this book. And I'll say, well, I'm reading this right now. And they'll say, well, when you get done with that, read this book, right? They're saying put it in your queue. With TV shows, we tend to be like, oh, no, you can watch lots of TV shows. That used to be true. You can watch more than one TV show a week. I'll grant you that. But there are way more good, deserving shows to watch than I have time for in a week. And I know Brian's the same way.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely.
So anyway, I guess all of this is a long way of saying when we fall off of a show or when we take a break from a show or when we don't watch the show that you wanted us to watch, it's not personal, but keep those recommendations coming because even if we don't watch them, we'll share them with everybody else. And you all, it's like a big book club for TV shows. You all can start to hear about new shows to watch.
Absolutely.
Hey guys, Undateable on NBC, here's an example, has been live all this season. And it's great to see current events and the actors' personal lives intrude on the show. Plus, the screw-ups are usually really fun, and the cast is great. Also, Grease Live was great. The scope of the moving sets, both indoor and outdoor, plus the cast was amazing to watch, even in the rain. Thank you, Mike, from the home of KGSR, Bastrop, Austin, in Texas. I did not know that Undateable had become live for this season, but that is a great way to go.
Yeah, and here's the funny part. This is a case of taking what was old out of necessity. You know, when the three big broadcast networks made their bones and became household institutions, they were live to video because that was the only way to do it. They didn't have the ability to record it and all that stuff. And as a result, we find ourselves, here we are looping around back. If you asked me, if the broadcast networks really wanted to do something very, very bold, they would take more of their shows. And in fact, you want to be the most talked about broadcast network on the planet? Announce that all of your shows are live from this point forward. You will get everybody watching because they're going to see. And yeah, you'll have to pay a few fines for curse words or stuff going wrong. And you'll have to, edit on the fly and so on. But I think that, I think it's brilliant. I think this is a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that even over the air has over streaming, and we experienced this with the Super Bowl, is instantaneous. It's instant. You can watch it as it happens. Whereas even on the web, even with the lowest latency and the fastest connection, you're still going to be a little bit behind, at least for now.
Meanwhile, Michael, who may or may not be the same Michael, says, hey guys, just want to check in on why I pay for cable. I watch probably 40 shows a week, more or less, and some of them are on Hulu. Only some of them are on Hulu in a timely fashion, and some don't come to Netflix or Amazon Prime until the season is over, making talking with coworkers impossible on current shows. Buying them individually would be way more expensive than paying for cable at this point in time, and am too far from Austin to use an antenna without planting a pole and using a huge aerial. Thanks for your time, Michael. Yeah, man. And I say, here's what I wrote back. Good point. Sometimes WYWWYWOADDYW leads to you selecting cable as your best choice. And of course,
Yeah,
no, that's what you want when you want on whatever damn device you want.
Yeah,
that's a helpful acronym
it's perfectly
I came
legit.
up with.
And I can see it's perfectly reasonable to say, yeah, I could put up a big antenna, but it's more expense and work than I'm willing to give. And it's perfectly reasonable to say, you know what? These are the shows I want to watch. And the argument is like, well, don't watch those shows. There's plenty of other good shows. Like Tom was just saying, there's so many good shows. And Michael could say, yeah, but I don't want to watch those shows. These are the shows I want to watch. And it would be too expensive to buy them on their own.
It's pronounced WYWWYWOADDW. WYWWYWOADDW.
WYWWYWOADDW? However you want to.
There you go.
That is it for this episode of Cordkillers. Thank you, everybody, for supporting us, for watching us. Tell your friends, and we'll keep bringing as much good information as we can. Our website is cordkillers.com. Our email address is cordkillers@gmail.com. We're live on diamondclub.tv Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, 5 Mountain, 4 Pacific. We'll see you there.
Hey, guys. Tom and Brian here. We just wanted to say thank you to all of our $5 patrons who keep us loud, live, and independent. You guys make Cordkillers the production that it is.
Your name appears in the video credits and appears in our hearts. And if you'd like to become one of them or see who they are, you can go to patreon.com/cordkillers.
You'll need to do more than just go there, though. You'll have to sign up and, pledge an amount. But
unless you just want to see who they are.
Well, I mean, you could gawk. That's a little creepy, isn't it?
If you want to be a gawker,
let's go.
It's up to you.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.